think so.
She lives there in Nashville. She's
She does.
yeah, she's a writer mainly for like teen girls, but she just wrote a book that's for our peers.
Oh, cool.
She's super funny. But
Oh, I saw. Did you Instagram?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I did see that. Yeah.
But we got so like into talking about silly things that we really didn't talk of too much substance. So I'll try to balance that out, but there's just so many fun things I want to talk about. Okay, so you're feeling good, and we will wrap by 10. Does that sound good? Or earlier if it just is flopping.
Oh yeah, noon. Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, 10 my time.
No, I'm thinking noon for me. Yeah.
It's gonna be a 10-hour podcast.
I know that's right. That's right.
Okay. I just gotta make sure all the technological pieces are working. All right, here we go. So we are here with my good friend Rachel, and actually, Rachel, currently the podcast hasn't gone out yet. Currently, I'm calling it Ask Joy and Friends because my hope was that we would kind of answer some of the Ask Joy questions that I get or have like people calling. That's getting to be really hard.
It's not really happening.
So I'm thinking maybe I should just call it Joy and Friends. What do you think?
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
Joy and friends. Joyful friends.
Joyful. Oh, I like that. Look, we could just riff off of that all day. And how did we exactly, I'm trying to think of the history of our friendship. We first talked on the phone because you were like talking with other women who have fathers in prominent positions, correct?
Yes.
You were doing a little research project, but it was kind of instigated by my mother, right?
Yes.
And you recently told me the story of actually how it went down, so I want to hear that again for everybody's sake.
So funny. Well, your dad was in town doing, like, we as a company, we do a devotional every Wednesday. So he was our speaker for that morning, and your mom was with them. And afterwards, I think I may have gotten up and introduced myself. I can't remember. No, I don't think I did. Because I think I just like
she
left.
Probably found you.
Went to my desk. Yeah. And I'm in a meeting. In the meeting, some of our like offices and stuff are glass walls, so you can like it's all like translucent. So I'm sitting in this meeting with, I think it was
important people.
Yeah. Like, it was like a few people in there that like are in the room at the same time, so you want to get things accomplished. No. And yeah, I look over and in the glass is your sweet mom, and she's just waving
like a kid in a candy shop.
So I was just waving back, and she was like, "Come out here." Or I may have jumped up and went out. I can't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure she probably motioned for you to obey her.
Yeah, I went out, and she gave me a hug. She was so sweet. She's like, "You've got to meet my daughter Joy. You've got to meet my daughter Joy." And I think that's when she may have even like texted you as we were standing there talking.
She made you sit. I get a picture, like a picture text of just this girl sitting on a bench, like waving. My mother's been setting up play dates and friends for me since kindergarten, so it doesn't surprise me that she still does it in my 30s.
Well, it was so funny. But, of course, I'm like, I don't know who Joy is. I don't know, who.
I got to get back to my important meeting.
No, but then somehow we connected, I guess, through that.
Yeah, we actually did then chat because it
was great. So because we're both kind of on missions for our generation, if you will. So we definitely have a lot of things in common that a lot of people don't. So we're kind of a
little tag team
for each other to bounce ideas and all of that off.
Which I probably should tell people.
Glad that your mom set up the play date.
I know. We've been playing ever since. And we didn't start off super competitive, but we've become that in our friendship. Recently we spoke together, which I think was a dream of ours. For the SMART conference, which is connected with your organization. And we were, I was laughing about this because it really was, there was a table of people that didn't know us, and they witnessed this.
Probably annoyed with us.
Oh, very annoyed.
You're having a good old time.
So was it Houston or Dallas?
Dallas.
They have something very similar to like the Space Needle, where it's like a restaurant that like spins. I was trying to explain this to so many of my friends. That's why I finally texted you. I was like, can I get the video? Because people aren't understanding what's happening. And it was like...
It's pretty I mean, I feel like a lot of downtowns have the, a little restaurant,
That spins?
Like places have it. Yeah. I feel like it's maybe not.
I had
Maybe
only known of Seattle.
I don't know.
So I was like, whoa, Dallas coming in strong. But it was like, yeah, so the center was stationary and then the rest of the restaurant rotated around like a merry-go-round. And you were standing in heels and you were facing me, but your back was to like the rotating part. And I was watching the little points of your heels getting closer and closer to stepping onto the moving part.
The rotating, but it's very slow for people watching.
It is
it's
slow.
not like it's like doing this. So,
Yeah. But I knew if you stepped, you would probably stumble. And because you had beat me in a game that we did on stage together earlier that day, I was tempted to let you just eat it. But I was like, oh, Rachel, watch out. And you, like, without missing a beat, just like looked up and you were like, of what? Which somehow instigated us then playing a game that Dr. Henry Cloud jumped in on. And his wife. Yes. And then it ended up being like 10 of us where we had 1 foot on the stationary part and 1 foot on the moving part to see who could go farthest down into the splits without falling over. And I will say, I think I would have won, but you pushed me.
I did. I know. Well, you and I did it first before anyone else joined because they were like, that is
We're trendsetters.
Fun. Yes, it is fun. So we're moving. And yeah, I think I may have grabbed onto you before I fell, so you fell first, and then I did they declared me the winner.
I know.
I'll give it to you, though. I'll give you the title of the moving restaurant.
Thank
competition
you.
To you.
It really did give me a flashback though, because I watched the video and I was like, oh my, that is how I've been since I was 6. She pushed me. That was the tone of my voice, and I was legitimately upset.
Our true colors shine. So I was like, no, I didn't.
I didn't, Mom. No.
Yeah, for sure.
It was great.
Oh, so fun. And then I think Henry Cloud's wife won.
Yeah, she was
in the splits.
I was like, did you stretch before dinner?
It's so good, yeah. Oh, man.
Well, I should probably tell people, if they don't know who you are, we've just dove into the history of our friendship. This is Rachel Cruze, daughter of Dave Ramsey, and that's why we do have this connection. You work for your father, I work for my father, and your area of expertise is finances, and your little bio says you have been speaking to groups as large as 10,000 for more than a decade. But we will get to it later that some of your first audiences, I know, were not 10,000. You had to start from the ground up.
Well, my first one, yes. When I went out on my own speaking from the ground up, my first one was at 15 with 4,000 people.
Seriously? That was your first stepping out on a stage?
15 years old, yep.
What did...
With Dad's, it was Dad's conference. Obviously they didn't get to see me. Yep.
But like...
5-minute little tidbit at 15 about why it was hard to be Dave Ramsey's kid and pitch the kids' products and it all. But he made me practice. I had to say it for him for like 20 different times before he let me out on stage.
Oh,
so,
of course.
When I went on my own, it went from 4 to 10,000 people to maybe 28 in the middle of Nebraska. But
we'll get there. We'll get the Nebraska years. Do you think that because you were 15, like most people would literally wet themselves? I had my friend's husband saw the picture from the SMART conference that we did together. My friend Esther Havens, who's an amazing photographer, my mom.
Same Esther?
Yeah, you met her. Yeah. And my mom, of course, doing what she does, telling people what to do, getting them out of meetings. And she leans over to Esther. She's like, can you get some pics? Esther's not working. And my mom's like, this is my daughter. I want this for the scrapbook. So Esther goes and takes these awesome photos. I don't know if you saw them or not, but yeah, there was one black and white one that just it was Verizon Center, right? And
yeah, Verizon Center, yeah.
And I get this text from my friend's husband that just goes, just saw your Instagram. If I had to do that, they would call me Matt, oops, I crapped my pants. But I feel like I started very small, and I still have some small groups, and then I get to do things with you, and there's larger groups, which I prefer because you can't see people's faces. There's some distance, bright lights. But do you feel like starting that young and with that large of a group, like kind of took the nerves out for you, or were you nervous?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At 15. Yeah, I mean, as he was announcing me and I was on the side, like the wing of the stage, where you walk out, and I remember him doing like my intro and how he was so excited to share the stage for the first time with his daughter. I remember thinking, I can't go. I'm not walking out there. I'm not going out there. So yeah, complete panic. But once I went out there and cracked the first little joke or whatever, that, Dave asked if I get asked to be picked up on a date. He asked if his car's paid for. I did some like Dave Ramsey little cliche joke.
Yeah.
That people love. So they started laughing, and that was the moment I was like,
oh.
And then I kept going, and I walked off stage, and my heart rate was the same. I mean, it literally, like, there was such a peace, and I couldn't verbalize it then, but I look back at that time, and I think, I'm like, I think God has given me a gift. Not that I'm the best speaker in the world. Don't hear me say that. But
you are very good.
A gift that I enjoy. And a lot of people enjoy public speaking, like you said. I think the number one fear in America is public speaking.
It is.
And Jeff Foxworthy has that whole bit where people, at a funeral, you'd rather be laying in a casket because the second biggest fear is death than doing eulogy.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, but at 15, I thought, that's weird that I wasn't nervous out there. I was nervous before.
Yeah.
But after the first joke, I wasn't really nervous. So
yeah.
And yeah, so that, I mean, what crazy training, and the fact that my dad let his 15-year-old kid come out on stage. So blessings to him.
That's a lot of trust on his part. Yeah, I do think having a group laugh is like such a like amazing feeling. Yeah. But to say something that you think is going to get a laugh and then be crickets, you're like, I want to hide under the floorboards of this right now.
Because I heard the joke, there's always a pause of like waiting for the audience to react, and they're not reacting, so we're just gonna keep going.
One time, my dad and I got asked to speak at like one of those summer music festivals.
Oh yes.
And it was like
those.
Yeah, and we like the night before our talk, we went out on stage. So there was like 2,000 people, and we talked about what we were going to be talking about the next day, and then literally like maybe 50 people came in this small little room, but like anywhere from like 65-year-olds to 2-year-olds. Oh, and at that point, I think I'd only talked for kind of college age students, and I'm starting to do my stuff, and I literally halfway through was like, and thank you. I just stopped. Oh
my gosh.
Really
that's
bad.
Hard. That.
Oh man.
Especially like the variety of ages.
They were not tracking with anything I'm sure I wasn't funny either, but it was like, is this thing on? Is it? No, but you're right there. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop.
And goodbye. God bless. God bless.
Yeah. Can we hug it out? Oh my goodness. Okay, well I have to do the housekeeping, which is people who want to follow you and know about you, they can follow you on Twitter at Rachel Cruze, Cruze, Instagram Rachel Cruze, Facebook Rachel Ramsey Cruze, threw in the maiden name there.
Taken.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But if you search Rachel Cruze, it comes up obviously, but like the facebook.com/
Oh.
Yeah.
Can't you get someone to like knock her off? I mean, literally. Just kidding. And congratulations.
This Joy, you gotta be careful.
I know, seriously.
Completely out of context.
Hey, people can't. Just FYI, don't take 95% of what I say seriously, people. Congratulations, because you just had a book come out and it debuted as #1 on the New York Times. I mean, that's got to feel quasi good.
Yeah, crazy. Oh gosh, yeah.
And did you just finish?
I wrote it with my dad, so that's the
that
book
helps.
got covered. Didn't hurt the fact that it did well. Well, yeah, and then like #1 on Wall Street Journal and Publishers Weekly and all that. So like it was nuts, so crazy.
Have you just been going nonstop with like media and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's been It's been crazy.
Are you exhausted?
But, I'm a little tired. Yesterday I was tired. Yeah. We did a big book tour, and then that ended kind of mid-May, and then really since mid-May to now, haven't stopped. But July, July it slows down, which
Yeah.
is good. But yeah, some fun trips up to New York. I like the media stuff. That's fun. So
Yeah.
like the Fox and CNNs and Katie's and all that. I like that.
Yeah, which speaking of, you've been on the Katie Couric show like 72 times. She loves you.
No. Like the producers love me. She's probably, oh, hey, Rachel. Good.
Here we are again.
So, yeah.
Well, that's a question I have for you. How similar am I to Katie Couric in my interviewing style?
Such hardcore journalism.
I know. Look at me. Look at me. I've done research. I did.
All questions of yours are just much
Right on.
deeper.
Right on.
Yeah.
You will be crying by the end of this interview. FYI. No, my friend Annie, who I interviewed that I told you about, she and I did, we did interviewing for this women's event called the If Gathering. And one of the women that we tried to do like research on all the people that we were interviewing. And so we could have something to talk about. And so we got some info on, we were interviewing Lance Armstrong's ex-wife. And Kristen Armstrong, I believe is her name. And of course, like I'm a big biker, so I'm thinking I've got to get some information because otherwise I'm going to just ask her stuff about Lance, and I know I can't do that. And so one of the things in her bio was that she had been on Oprah, and we didn't know if like she was funny or anything like that. And so I opened up with I was like,
how's Oprah?
Yeah, no, I was like, it's been being said a lot on Twitter. Well, we assume it's being said on Twitter that a lot of people think that our interviewing style is similar to that of Oprah. You've been on Oprah. What do you think? And like, she went with it. She was so funny. She looks around the room and she's like, well, you guys have a white couch and Oprah has a white couch, and that's about it.
And that's it.
But then she told us all about Oprah and how she like will just like look into your soul, and that's what she's like. She's got these big eyes and these long eyelashes, and she's like, and that's why people just tell her everything, because she just like stares at you. So that's the thing I'm going to take into my interviewing, is just staring at you, Rachel.
Like big false eyelashes and just stare.
Tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. Wasn't your dad on Oprah?
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, Oprah. Oh gosh.
That was a long time ago.
She's been done, what, probably 3 years now? 4 years?
I don't know. Well, it seems like she's still doing stuff all the time.
She did. Yeah, a little while back. Yeah. But she's doing stuff now, but her like the Oprah Winfrey show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try and get you on her show. And you put on.
Enjoy.
What? No, she does all this other stuff now. She has her own channel. I feel like she's doing more now. My other friend that I interviewed, Justin Zarati, he started These Numbers Have Faces. We were talking about happiness, and he was like, yeah, Oprah did nationwide research and found that San Luis Obispo, where he grew up, is like the happiest city in the country. And I'm like, why is Oprah doing research? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, she just doesn't stop. And her like, one of her head researchers was, or like reporters was, oh my goodness, who's that blonde girl that used to be on MTV and then was married to Jim Carrey? Do you know?
Jenny McCarthy.
Yes. And he was like, and Jenny McCarthy was reporting. And I'm like, what?
She's on The View.
She is?
Yes. Oh, yes. See, we have different media knowings. You knew about Oprah, and I know about Jenny McCarthy.
Well, I only knew about Oprah because of my friend Justin. I don't have TV. You know, I live in Portland. You need to get out here, and we're gonna. All you want is to put your hair up in one of those. We're gonna paint. We're gonna show you this town.
Beanie kind of thing.
Yeah, that's your dream. We'll make it happen.
My platform's like, I need like boots.
We need to get you Birkenstocks. And then you're gonna have to not wash your hair for at least a week before you get out here.
That's right.
Okay, can you handle that?
Do you like dreads? I don't know how you do dreads.
I did fake dreads in college. Have I told you that?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
No, I believe it with my whole heart.
It's so weird that I did that, but I thought it was so cool. It's just like you would put heavy product, rat your hair, twist it, and blow dry it.
Ease it up.
Yeah, I'd keep it for a couple weeks and then had to spend like 9 hours washing it out. Okay, but enough about me. As I was Googling you, I mean, I already know a ton of things about you, but I just decided to put your name into Google. Did you know that there is a video of Rachel Cruze getting proposed to that comes up when you Google you?
Oh, funny.
And it's not you.
You know, because Winston wouldn't allow any cameras.
Of course.
Engaged.
So I love about your husband. He just is so like does not want to be shown anything. I actually tried to find him on Twitter yesterday to try and get some dirt on you. I was so sad. Because like the highlights of my day would be when Winston Cruze, who doesn't like social media, would like one of my tweets. I was like, if he thinks it's funny, then I've done something right in the world. Cheers. Why did he delete it?
We went on vacation after book tour, just for like 4 nights. We went to South Beach. And so we said, no work email, no social media. So I told people at work, the few people that needed to know that, like, text me if something comes up.
Yeah.
But we got off of everything, and we didn't check email or social media for like 3 or I guess 4 days.
Love it.
And it was, oh my gosh, it was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. But with my job, I have to be on it. I enjoy it, But when you're like unplugged, like Winston came back and he was like, I don't need it. So he deleted Twitter. I think he deactivated his Facebook, but he's keeping stuff because there's like pictures and stuff on Facebook. So if we need access to him, but yeah, he's like off the map, off the grid.
Off the grid. I love that he just did it though. I love that he's just like, you know what? Don't need it.
It's so funny. So I'm like, you can say good stuff, and he won't let me like. He hates when I like Instagram pictures of him. So there's always some pictures over his head.
It's just, I know. I like caught that one on Instagram where it was like your dog and then Winston's chin. And I was like, Winston edited that photo, didn't he? And you were like, yep.
Oh, funny. It's so funny.
So good. Well, how can I, since he's not here, can I ask how he proposed?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like he's going to listen to this.
Yeah. He doesn't do computers. Let me think. Yeah, we were in college, we were both in college. So from the South, holla, we get married really young. So I actually lived with his sister. His sister was like my best friend. That's how I met him. So we had an apartment together with 2 other roommates, and I knew everything was coming. Like I knew he already asked my dad's permission. We like talked about the ring. Like I'm not like a surprise kind of thing. I'm like,
which you have let me try on multiple times.
Do what?
I said, which you have every time I see you, I'm like, can I put your ring on?
You do love my...
Thank you for that. A girl can dream.
I did meet you for coffee when you were in town last, and you're like, hey, we hugged. You're like, can I put on your ring? Oh, yeah, Joy, sorry, I forgot. That was the first thing you like to do. But anyways, yeah, he picked me up. Well, no, he didn't. He had a limo come.
Oh, nice.
And so I like looked up because he texted me. It's like, hey, look out the window. I'm here ready for dinner or something. I looked at the window and there's a limo, and I knew it was kind of coming. So I saw that, and I turned, and his sister was there, on the couch, and I looked at her, and she was like weeping. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's tonight. It's tonight.
It's happening.
Jumped in there. He went in there and took it to the first place we hung out in Knoxville. That's where we met. Went to UT. So it dropped me off at the first little area that we had met in.
Was it like a park or something, or a restaurant? Or
Yeah. And proposed. We went to dinner, and then my family had driven up, and his family was there, so we had dinner with all of them. So
that's so fun. Yeah, I looked at your because we watched the Oscars together this year. Came over to your little house, and I looked at your wedding album. I asked for it, didn't I? I was like, I want to see your wedding pictures. And let me put on your ring again. And I'm going to move into the guest bedroom. Thank you. Which I almost did because we had like an ice storm that night. Yes. And I was like, I might have to stay here, guys.
Yeah, I like had the bed and towels out. I was like ready for
sleepover.
You.
But it was so awesome. There was one picture that I can still see where you guys were like sitting on a couch or something. Yeah. And I was like, I can hear you in that photo. And it's just like genuine joy. Like I love when like pictures are captured of just people being at the peak of their happiness. And I loved it. So great.
Yeah, we had fun. It was great. We like invited all it was like half adults, half college kids, and half of them didn't even get invites because we ran out of invites. My wedding planner was like about to kill me.
Didn't you say you? Yeah, you over.
It was like literally a party with college students. It was awesome.
Was it buffet style then, or how did they handle?
Do what? Say again?
Was the food buffet style, or how did they handle all your extra invites?
And did my mom come on the dance floor like midway through the reception? Was like, we're running out of food. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. I've eaten. I'm done.
Bring in pizzas. That's great.
No, it was good. It was beautiful.
Okay, so I have some questions that we're going to run through that I've been asking people. You gave me some answers. Did you get the video I just sent you on your phone a few minutes ago?
Yes,
did you watch it?
Well, I was in a meeting, so I but I saw you, and then I turned it up as I was leaving and heard the song, so I embraced it. It was hilarious.
Well, thank you. I asked what's the current song stuck in your head, and you said "Story of My Life," One Direction. So I sent the reenactment that I did for my friend Lindsay for her birthday.
Okay, so you need to look. The reason it's in my head is because of this parody video of this guy who like dubbed over voices, and he sings the song, and it's horrible. Like, it's horrible, but it is so.
Who is he?
I don't know, because it's them singing, but he just dubs their voice, so it looks like they're singing, but it's like these crazy voices and like really off pitch. So every time I hear the song now, I'm like, I can't listen to that song without like thinking that they're
that
just
guy.
horrible. Oh my gosh, so it's been in my head.
You need to send that to me. I want to see that.
Oh, so funny.
Okay, do you like what?
Not as funny as yours.
But. Oh, thank you. There's one part where you'll see I literally almost broke my ankle because I'm, of course, in my cemetery where I like to be all the time. And we were filming something else. I think we were filming an asteroid video. And then I realized somehow Story of My Life came into my head. And I was like, oh, my friend Lindsay's birthday's coming up. I'm going to like sing this song. And I just had my iPhone in my pocket playing the song. But I don't know the words to the song. I mean, I know the story of my life. And I literally don't know what comes after that. And so I'm just trying to lip sync. And then I thought the song was over. And so I like picked up this branch and was really dramatically being like this. And then it's like kicks back in again. It's like da-na-na-na. So I start running and you see my ankle go whoof, like that. But I pulled it back together and I kept dancing till the end.
Kept going.
I committed to the craft. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay. Do you like hot sauce?
Yes.
What do you have a favorite? I'm like a big hot sauce connoisseur.
No, I'm not that.
Do you have a Nashville brand where you live? Is there like a specific anything, or are you just like
that Cool Joy? I'm not like that local where I'm like, oh,
yeah, my little East Nashville.
Nashville hot sauce.
Well, so are you just like Tabasco or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If there's like Mexican food, anything like that, yeah, put some of that.
Put hot sauce. All right. Well, hey, I like that you're non-discriminatory.
Brick tops, and they serve deviled eggs and honey glazed bacon, and you put this what's the hot sauce? I guess with the wooden cap. It's like a
oh yeah,
I think it's
Cholula.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah.
And put it on deviled eggs. Oh my gosh, so good.
Wait, deviled eggs and bacon, like bacon crumbles on the deviled egg?
No, it's separate. So you like take a bite of bacon and a deviled. Oh, it's delicious. Sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy, and I only eat scrambled and fried eggs, so deviled eggs would be venturing out for me. But hey, if you take me there, I'll try it. Okay. I'm growing up. Okay, I heard there was some confusion for you. Can you tell me what the end of the phrase "no pain, no"? What is it?
Right.
I did my research.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I started working out consistently at the beginning of the year.
Which you look great and buff, by the way.
Do I? Oh, thank you. Well, I've kind of, the past 2 weeks have done this, but that's okay. So Christy Wright, who I work with, she's like all into all this, like these races, and she's like really fit. And so I was like, see, I want to work out. I don't want to be crazy, but I do want, like, for Katie, right? Katie good arms
and for legs, Joy, like, for the Joy and Friends show.
Good, yeah. And so she was like, okay, let's work out together. So we started meeting. So our like third day of working out, you can't walk. I'm like crippled because we just did so much so fast. And so I don't know. I think we were at the gym or at the office, and I just looked at it. I was like, you know what, Christy? No pain, no game. She looked at me. She was like, and did that exactly what you just did. Just like laughed in my face. I was like, what? She's like, no the phrase is no pain, no gain. I was like, oh, that makes
I
a
get
lot
it.
more sense. I'm in the game.
Yeah. I mean, I can see where you're going with that.
Workout game.
Yeah.
So yeah, no pain, no game. So we're gonna print up T-shirts, and that's gonna be our our tank tops when we work out.
I love it. My friend Sharon in college, she just is the sweetest little blonde girl, and I don't mean that in that she's dumb or anything. She's actually super, super smart. But we had like a women's small group that we were a part of, and we called ourselves Go Bosh, Go Big or Stay Home. And we still like try to get together once a year even now. But one time we were like sharing our like life stories or whatever, and she was telling hers, and then she said something about how she was just doing something kind of half-asked. Oh. And we were like, half-asked? And she was like, yeah, I was just doing it half-asked. We're like, oh, sweetheart, that's not it.
Definitely not that. Oh, that's so funny.
And I get like music lyrics wrong all the time.
It's common.
Yeah.
I think I was like the craziest person in the world the way Christy reacted.
No, I wanted to call you out on that. I think I used to think the song signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours, right?
Yeah.
And I think I used to think it was signed, sealed, delivered, it's yours. So it's not as romantic. Here you go. Here's your letter.
Of course.
Okay, so you live in Nashville. You grew up in Nashville.
Yeah.
So you've never lived anywhere else except for college.
One of the only people in Nashville that actually grew up here. So yeah.
Did you like growing up there? I mean, what was kind of the culture? I obviously know you grew up in a Christian home. Yeah. And in the South is something I'm getting more and more used to in terms of, I just had never really spent much time in the South, and over the past few years, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Yes. It's a very Christian culture to some degree, but how was it growing up in that?
Well, normal. That's all I thought. I mean, we lived in a suburb. It's called Brentwood, just south of Nashville. So yeah, it was in a nice area too. So you're kind of in the bubble of a bubble of a bubble. You know, yeah. It's like America to the south to Franklin or Brentwood. Yeah. So, but it was great. I mean, you know, it's kind of your typical, I don't know, community in the South, but lots of new cars at 16, lots of big houses. So my message of saving up and paying for things and not entitlement and be content, you know, all of that would have done very well to high school people I went to high school with. Yeah.
So it was just kind of a wealthier kind of everybody goes to church on Sunday type community. But I know from being friends with you that your faith is still a big part of your life. So kind of as you were growing up, this is what I was talking with Annie about the other day, because she grew up in a suburb outside of Atlanta. And so same thing. Yeah. She kind of just knew everybody went to church and it's kind of what you did. Yeah. So I just was asking her kind of when did the faith element of your life kind of be like, oh, this is my choice. This is something I want. This isn't just a cultural type thing.
Yeah, I would say probably end of high school is when I was kind of, you know, right before I went to college, which I'm glad I kind of got my phase out in high school, not college. So yeah, into college is when I was like, okay, this is like the real deal. This is, you know, this is real. You can like really have a relationship and with God and learning to read scripture, because really you go to church and it's not that you always learn. You have to like literally open the Bible and read, and I'm still learning. But yeah. So yeah, I would say that. And then when I went to college is when a lady that was mentoring me here in Nashville told me to get involved with Young Life. She was like, you don't have to be a leader, because that's what, you know, when you go to college, you're a leader to high school students. So she was like, but just go get in a Bible study, just get with some good friends. Yeah. And that's where I met Winston's sister, Charlotte. Okay. First week of college was through that group. So yeah, college was a huge blessing in my life. And I ended up doing Young Life. So I was Young Life leader for 3 years. So that matured me for sure. Just having learning, you know, good friends and what real friendship looks like. Yeah. Well, in college. How did you, because obviously with the work that I do, like one of the biggest things that I feel like I've told people, and I think you
you do this in your life, is seeking older, wiser counsel. So what made you as a high schooler find a mentor? Was that something set up for you in your church, or did you seek that out, or what?
Yeah, I had a small group leader at church, and she was wonderful. And I'm trying to think how I got set up with this other girl. I want to say one of my friends kind of like met with her, and she was like, she's just so cool. Like, you can talk to her. She has such good advice. So I remember we went to lunch one day, and I was like, oh gosh, she is awesome. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty like, and I look back and I'm like, she was probably 40-ish years old.
Yeah.
This one lady, and I'm like, I'm so thankful that she like poured into a bunch of seniors in high school.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh my gosh. So
And what was her kind of approach for you that made you trust her? Because I feel like I do get older people that are like, I you talk about mentoring, but I feel like I have nothing to give. Or I talk to people who are just always wanting to like have the right answer and tell someone exactly what to do. So what was her kind of obviously disarming approach?
I remember she was one of the first people that literally all of our conversations, she asked questions and asked good questions. So you kind of almost like, as she was asking questions and I would answer, I was like saying things that I didn't realize were going on. You know, as I was speaking, I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I never thought about it that way. And as I was answering, I was realizing stuff was going on. And the way I looked at things, or the way, if I was having this conflict, that's why. So, I mean, it was crazy. So someone that like asks questions in your life is huge. And so I think I've had other mentors that are like, so what's going on? And I would tell them something. They're like, well, this is what you can do, this and this and this. But she like literally, I almost came to my own resolution sometimes, because she was just asking and digging and digging and digging. So
well, and that's what works. I mean, that's why I sometimes feel like I've tapped out a little bit on the videos and the posts that I do on my site, because I studied coaching at Western Seminary here in Portland, and the coaching kind of approach is you ask questions to get the person to think, because you have such higher success rate of someone actually truly making a transformation in their life if they have come to the conclusion themselves. It's not going to stick if they're just doing something to please you, And so even in that, like, I know that if someone writes me an email, I only know one part of the story. So I can ask you some questions, I can point you towards other people, but I'm so not quick to be like, these are the 5 things you should do and you should X, Y, Z, because it's like, I want people to think. God wants people to think, you know? Like,
and in those situations, you don't want to do, drive-by counseling. If I'm done with an event, someone's like, hey, this is happening, what do I do? I'm like, I'm not going to answer an investing question for you right now. Because drive-by, you have to get all the facts before you, and especially with relationships. I mean, there's so many dynamics with that when you're talking about love and all.
Well, that's I like that term, drive-by counseling, because then if you do, like, if you just, and that shows humility on your part, I think, because it would probably feed your ego to be able to be like, you should invest in da-da-da-da. But then if you did and then something went wrong, they'd be like, well, Rachel told me,
Bankrupt, I did all this, and I'm like,
that's
good. I did that once. I was on a radio show down in, oh my gosh, I can't even remember the city, but it was after one of my speaking things. And so it was early on. I mean, it was probably my first year traveling on my own and speaking. And so they would do some media stuff to kind of, let me learn. And so I got put on this radio show. And one of the big things my publicist kept saying is, don't have callers call in. Like, you got, here's a good format for the segment, go through these questions with her. And he took calls. And I'm sitting there. I was probably 22, and I'm in the studio, and I'm like,
you're not supposed to call. You're not supposed to call.
I mean, I'm freaking out. And as he's taking this call, and literally this guy came on, the first question, and it was like, I have a 30-year mortgage, and I just don't know, it's 2.3% interest, and if I refinance, because went on and on and on and on. And I was like, just use cash. So I said,
I love it. Cut up those credit cards. That's so great. Well, so that's a big, okay, so if people don't know Dave Ramsey, which I'm pretty sure most people do, his big shtick is cutting up those credit cards, using cash, and then snowball, what's it, like, getting out of debt by debt snowball. Yeah. So what are the kind of things in Smart Money, Smart Kids, which is the book that just debuted on the New York Times at #1 by my friend Rachel, which P.S. yes, it does help that your father's face is on the front of the book. But when I was Google imaging you, there is a photo of you and your father back to back like this. And I was like, we should have used that one. I want it back to back on the cover of your next book.
They've used that one a few times, if it's what I recall.
I'm going to send it to my dad and be like, Dad, why don't we have a back-to-back? I want a back-to-back now. Oh, it's like the, Daddy, I want a new Oompa Loompa now. Okay, so I love that. What my friend told me once, he's like, never explain your joke. I just did that.
From Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I'm like, Rachel, do you get that? Remember that one movie? They're green and they're short? Yeah.
Same thing, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, you're crazy.
No, it is. It is Willy Wonka.
Childhood movie, like, recap.
Which I just brought up the movie Cheetah to someone the other day, and then they didn't know the movie Cheetah. Do you remember that growing up? I thought it was like a staple. What?
And I have someone shaking their head too, so I don't feel no.
Meg,
no.
Meg, listen to me. Both of you guys need to go home tonight, and you need to rent. No, this was a childhood thing. It's Disney. These two kids. Yeah, they.
I do know one movie.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. They like rescued this cheetah.
I haven't seen it, but it's not called Cheetah.
Yes, it is.
It's called the Cheetah Girls.
No. The Cheetah Girls is like a pop. You would know the Cheetah Girls. The Cheetah Girls are like a pop singing group. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, I've never seen it, but I know the name, the Cheetah Girls. No, this is like mid 80s. What you're talking about?
Yes, and it's a Disney movie, and it's these kids who live in Africa, and they
sing and dance, and they're called the Cheetah Girls.
No. Oh my goodness, we're gonna put Cheetah Girls versus Cheetah, the family Disney movie. We're gonna put those in the show notes so people can know. But you need to rent it. It was so good. Anyways, they like make this cheetah their pet. It's all I wanted growing up. Cause
Jungle Book? Yeah,
no.
I don't.
No, it's actually
Got it.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, take 2. What? Yes. Yep. Exactly. Thank you, Meg. Thank you for doing that research. We now know that the movie Cheetah exists.
1989.
Yeah, I was 7. Ugh, you probably were just born. You were 2. Oh, you baby. Okay. So I asked some people on Twitter to ask you a question. I just did it like a couple hours ago. And Amber asked a good question. She said, what motivates you, Rachel? Because she's like, I struggle to find motivation at my current job that's unfulfilling. And obviously you do a job that's quite fulfilling to you. But I feel like you're a pretty motivated person. You had to have been because, yeah, your first group was 4,000 people. But we know there were the Nebraska years that were hard. So when those things were hard, I mean, I talked with you and Christy, another speaker at the Ramsey group, and you guys had stories for days about the struggle of being on the road. What was that? Was that your first summer speaking? Is that the Nebraska years? Is that what the story is?
Yeah, I'm kind of still in them sometimes. Every now and then I'll get a Nebraska year moment.
Explain what you guys mean by that when you talk about that.
Yeah, well, no, the Nebraska years basically means no one will pay you to come speak. You get like this much money and you go out and you take 2 connections to get to Nebraska, and then you have to get in a rental car and drive another 4 hours because there's no airport near.
Yeah.
And then you speak to 28 people and you get in your rental car, drive back through Nebraska.
Or you sleep in a college dorm room, which you did.
So yeah, I started traveling speaking like 3 days after my college graduation. Like I literally, like Winston, when we moved to Nashville, like he was the one that like basically moved us in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was on the road immediately, literally. Yeah, and that summer was crazy. So yeah, going into a dorm room and my sheets and towels were cellophane wrapped sitting outside the dorm room hall, and I was like, oh, and making up my own bed, in this like dorm room. But I'm like, that's what a speaker does. I'm not above that. I can make up my bed. I can do that.
Yeah.
For now, I prefer a hotel.
Yeah.
At least just a hotel.
And some little soaps, a couple little soaps.
Yeah. travel shape. That's all I need. I'm good.
So to answer Amber's thing, like about what keeps you motivated, do you feel like it's just a personality thing? Do you just feel like you kind of make a choice, or you've always been someone that just sees the glass half full? What do you think?
Yeah, I think people are designed differently. I mean, I think there's some people that are, utilitarian and they love to go out and build something and see, the success and it gets them going. I think that's naturally how some people are. Where I'm wired more that way. Where some people, aren't motivated as much, like in the career space, and it's just not something that they don't have this conviction and passion that they want to. They may have those in life, but they don't want to necessarily pair that with a job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think everyone's so different. But for me, and I think my story is so unique, where I learned early about money and how to handle money. So kind of the preventative side. And when I realized the need for my generation to understand how money works, I thought, well, I mean, I can speak to that. And my passion was to get the message to people early and often. I mean, to get them before they've made mistakes.
Yeah.
So there was someone. Rebecca Lyons, maybe?
Yeah.
Or I may have been her. I'm giving you credit, Rebecca. I don't know.
I'm seeing her next week.
About, like where your passions and your convictions meet. And like that point is that's it. Like that's what you're created to do. I think I may have butchered all of that, but it was someone said that somewhere, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so true. So for me, that's what it was, and God gave me a gift, I think, for speaking and enjoying that part. So hearing it all together. So what motivates me is, right now in life, helping parents teach their kids about money through the kid. I'm the kid. That's my perspective. And so with that book, the book that came out,
Smart Money, Smart Kids.
Smart Money, Smart Kids. Yeah. So, and it's just so fun. I mean, and again, our big thing is getting people out of debt. Yeah. And helping them get out of debt. And so people will come to the office and do their debt-free screams on Dad's radio.
I've seen it. It's so amazing.
It's so cool. And you just see these kids, and I'm like, ugh, because I'm like, I was that kid. My parents filed for bankruptcy when I was born. I mean, they did the worst with money. Yeah. Made so many mistakes. So seeing those kids and seeing what their future is going to be now, because they have parents that are setting such a great example and teaching them early, that's just like, oh my gosh.
Well, when I learned that people who die, like most of their debt gets passed on to their kids, like the injustice of that, I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. And it's just like, and people just feel trapped. Like they just feel like they cannot get out. And I've had so many friends, even like a week before I came to speak with you, like I don't even think they knew I was coming to speak with you. And there had been an advertisement for Financial Peace University, which is another small group thing that a lot of churches do, that your dad created. And I was in a group of people, and they like glanced up at the thing, and this one couple started telling the other couple, like, oh, you have got to do this. Like, you've got to do it. And I know it's helped my brother and sister, and I just know a bunch of people. And then you guys have you have a wall at your office space too, where people, they do the debt yell, but then they write the amount. And it is just looking at the amount, I start having heart palpitations. Like, oh my goodness. Like I've just been like a hoarder, like a saver of money. Like every time my parents or my grandparents would give us $100 for Christmas every year. And I thought I was the richest person in the world.
A millionaire.
And I even remember one Christmas where I was like, I gave $10 to the church because I was this little legalistic kid and I thought I had to.
Tithe on your gift, your Christmas.
I know. And I remember my parents being like, "Oh, you don't have to tithe on like gifts." And I was like, "I need to get back down to the church and I need to get that out of the offering plate." Excuse me.
Take back the $10. Oh.
I love it. Well, I know we don't have a ton of time, but I did want to ask, and if this is, too personal, you don't have to, but obviously you and I have talked a lot about how you and Winston balance your marriage with you and being on the road so much. And we recently, me, did a post because I've gotten a number of questions from women and men being like, for the first time in history, women are marrying down academically.
Interesting.
And still, the majority is still people marrying at the same academic level. But it used to be then of the percentage of people marrying down, it was always more men that married down. But now it's women. And I think there's a number of contributing factors. I think there's a lot of men who have entrepreneurial spirits and maybe just aren't going to college. But I also think that there is this subconscious thing where there are men who, for whatever reason, get intimidated by successful women. I mean, I've had men, we've talked about this, men not wanting to be with me because of what I do. And, well, it's probably my personality, but they say it's what I do. And so I've asked you, I'm like, obviously you were this very strong, successful, prominent, out there woman, and I know Winston, and he is like a man. Like, I love you guys. Yeah. Like, he is doing his thing, you're doing your thing, but like many men would be intimidated by what you do. And so what is it about Winston, and what is it that you guys do to kind of make this dynamic work?
Yeah, I would say I think men, and people have different views on this, so to each its own.
Yeah.
But studying scripture and figuring out, I think that there is an innate thing in men that they want to provide.
Yeah.
And they want to lead. Like that's part of, men that are very passive. I think that's where marriages sometimes can get sticky. I think men genuinely want to provide. And so a big thing with us, with job wise, is even if the income is different each month, one are higher than the other, honestly, the money thing really doesn't bother us at all. I mean, we look at it really as one, and that sounds cliche, but seriously, it goes into one checking account and that's it.
Yeah.
And so, but for him to have, I think, success in his own line of work, and that he does really well with what he does.
Yeah.
And I've told him multiple times, I'm like, if all of this, Dave Ramsey stuff hits the fan, and I'm out of a job, like, I know Winston will take care of me. Like, he'll go mow lawns, he'll do something in him. And so me encouraging that still in him to say, hey, even if this wasn't there, we would still be doing great as a couple when it comes to money and all of that, because he would, that's who he is. And so I think encouraging that. And then I think coming home, I see marriage as definitely a team sport. I mean, we work together really well. But there is something, to be said for him to using Candace Cameron Bure, who was on Dancing with the Stars. She talked about this. I know it's controversial to some people, but for him to lead our marriage. And I think that helps him still feel like a man. And again, by leading, it's not this like, he's telling me what to do. We very much are talk through issues together, and all
so what does it for you guys tangibly, because I think it looks different for everybody, what does it look like for him to lead in your marriage? Because I see him as like championing you, and and the way you speak about him and the work that he does, it seems very much like you both believe in each other. But I do know that you have this like you want him. That's a choice you're making, just like Candace made that choice. And I think there's a lot of women, when they really get in tune with themselves, they want a man who is going to take initiative, because passive is just not that attractive to most women. Maybe there are some women that like passive.
Sure.
So you guys are equal players, but what does it mean for you to say, hey, Winston, I want you to kind of be the leader in this regard?
Yeah. Well, I think it's like even like silly conversations, if it's deciding what to do on the weekend, sometimes I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I really want to go here and here. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. Like, I'm going to sacrifice my time, because you've made so many sacrifices for me in my job, that I'm going to do what you want to do. So I think it's little tangible things like that. And even like when bigger decisions come into play, with kids and all of that, I think, him taking initiative. Again, it's a weird thing, because it's like us working together, but there is a respect level for him.
Yeah.
Love and respect. I mean, seriously, it's perfect. That's exactly what it is. But him knowing that he has a voice, and that I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah. Because the personality that you have, it would be very, especially because you're such a good communicator. And I think by nature, I think sometimes women can articulate themselves better. So it's like, if there's a controversy, I think sometimes, whoever in the relationship is a better communicator can usually dominate. And I think I've talked to so many men like Winston's age, like our peers, who say, they're scared to use the word respect. But when I say, when you feel like she trusts you, does that feel like what respect is? And they're like, oh yeah, when I know that she trusts me, like just with little things, like to pick what we're going to do for the weekend, or make those bigger decisions. Like if I know that she trusts me, then I actually want to defer to what it is that she wants to do, and I want to serve her. And that's where I think showing respect is not about, being dumb and not having a voice, but trusting that they will want to lead you well, and having enough wisdom to know when it's someone that's not good, but Winston's a good dude, so you can trust and you can relax. And you're probably tired of being so strong all the time. That's how that's what I complain to you about. I'm like, I have to be strong all the time. I just kind of want somebody to take care of me. So you guys are going to adopt me, and it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. Oscar parties all the time.
All the time. It was so fun. Okay, well, I know we only have a few more minutes, but I've got something really important to do with you. Okay. I am going to give you 1 minute on the clock, and I'm going to name coins and dollar bills, and you have to tell me what face is on that. Okay, so you have 1 minute on the clock.
My publicist is looking at me like she wouldn't know either, so I'm feeling better. I'm glad.
I wouldn't either. I've printed it out, but I want to make you look bad because we're competitive.
I'm going to embarrass myself, okay? Go easy at first.
All right. Penny.
Abraham Lincoln.
Good. Nickel.
Pass.
Dime.
Oh, I can't.
I really wouldn't know these. What? What'd you say?
Coins. Okay, George Washington's the quarter.
You got that.
The dime is...
We can pass. $50.
$50?
He was our hottest president.
What?
Hottest president that you and I are both obsessed with.
Oh.
We didn't even get time to talk about this today.
Kennedy?
Yes, Kennedy.
Is the $50?
Yeah, $50. Do you know who's on the silver dollar?
Who's on the silver dollar?
I'm stopping the timer because I just want to see how many we can do. Silver dollar. It's a female. She made our flag, I think.
Betty Ford?
No. I wouldn't have got...
Rose.
Susan B. Anthony.
Oh, Betty Ford was Ford's wife.
I know. We are terrible. Okay, wait.
The lady that did the most... who did the flag?
Susan B. Anthony, right?
What?
Wasn't it Susan B. Anthony? Oh my goodness, everyone's going to mock our knowledge of history. I have a cheat sheet and I'm not even confident. Okay, the dollar bill.
Politics. Eisenhower.
On what?
The silver dollar.
No.
Oh.
No. It's Susan B. Anthony. I've got the facts right here, people. Do you know who's on the golden dollar?
I didn't even know that existed.
It does. It's another female.
Oh. Betty Ford.
Yes! No, Sacagawea. Okay, on the dollar bill.
George Washington.
Yes, he got 2. That's not fair.
Yeah, he did good.
Do you know who's on the $2 bill?
No.
Thomas Jefferson.
$5
bill?
Should have known that. Oh, Lord, Joy.
Also on the penny.
Oh, Lincoln. Yeah.
These people doubled up.
You said Washington got 2, no fair. And I thought, okay, well, then the president got 2.
Truly, I would blank on all these too. But on the $10 bill.
That wouldn't be Jefferson too, would it?
No, but it kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
He was the first U.S. Treasury Secretary. Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Grant.
Oh, you got Alexander, but it's Hamilton. Do you know who's on the $20 bill? He was the 7th U.S. president.
Andrew Jackson.
Good job. I wouldn't have known that. On the $50 bill.
Grant.
Yes. $100 bill.
Benjamin Franklin.
Give me those Benjamins. Did you know there's a $500 bill?
McKinley.
Meg, I can hear you. Cheater, pumpkin eater. That's a good publicist trying to make Rachel look like she knows history when she clearly does not.
Just laughing.
Wow. Okay, Meg, you're hired. Be my publicist. Okay, I didn't even know.
I did know Grant, I did know Jackson, and I did know
Benjamin.
Benji.
Did you get the $500 bill? 25th U.S. president.
Meg. Lincoln.
No.
McKinley.
Lincoln can't have 3. It is McKinley. $1,000 bill. He was our 22nd
Cleveland.
and 24th president.
Cleveland?
Yes. No, did you get that one right or did Meg cheat?
I don't know.
Thank you, Meg. And Google.com.
I'm totally ruining your game.
No, it's fine.
Oh.
$5,000 bill. I didn't even know there was a $5,000 bill.
I didn't even know there was I have to say, I didn't even know there was a $5,000 bill or a $500 bill.
I know. Okay.
I don't know.
James Madison, and then the $10,000 bill was Salmon P. Chase. I didn't even. How on the $10,000 bill?
Uncle Benjamin. That's about as big of a president's face.
But how in the world do you get a $10,000 bill and it's the 25th U.S. Treasury Secretary? Like, why? Why is he so great? And then there's a $100,000 bill, which is
okay. I got it. I knew this one.
You really do?
Wilson.
What's his first name?
Woodrow.
And who told you that, Meg? I can't even. This is supposed to be an honest podcast.
$100,000 bill. I did know that.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I know you have to go. This has been a great time.
Ruined it.
Everybody, you can follow Rachel on Facebook and Twitter at Rachel Cruze. Her book is Smart Money, Smart Kids, and rachelcruze.com, where she does all sorts of funny little videos. She is just my, as she says, sister from another mister.
Yeah. Well, you inspired me, Joy.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Well, I love you, lady. Thank you for being on. We'll have to do this again because I actually had way more questions for you, but we just did not have time because you're a busy gal. You're a busy gal.
Really took up.
She really did.
Serious time. So.
I would like you to hunt down a Sacagawea coin for me. That's all I want.
I'll bring it to the next interview.
All right. Bye, Meg.
By the way, this was awesome.
Oh, good. I'm glad you had
You're
fun.
good. Just like Oprah.
Oh.
Just like
that's better than the Katie compliment. Thank you. I do have fake eyelashes on, so there you go. Look into my soul. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Oh, wait, we should probably say that we're speaking together as well again in November at the Shrine for the Smart Conference, and which is where they have the Oscars. So I'm sorry, but you and I are going to wear formal attire. It's just a given.
In our best.
We basically wore the same outfit last time. I realized as I was looking at pictures. Did you notice that? Yeah, we both had like navy blue blazers and like gold necklaces and something kind of similar underneath.
I didn't have a gold necklace.
Oh, you know what? But you do have a.
I do get the same gold necklace.
Same gold necklace, yeah.
BCBG.
No, mine was just from a random little store in
Portland. Just a Portland local.
It was like $4.99. But how much?
How much?
No. It was in a little store in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where my parents live, and I convinced my. Yeah, it was a boutique, so it's not by BC.
It's probably BCBG. I bet they sold it.
No, it wasn't. We should compare because
I really think it's the exact same necklace.
I bet because I did a little stint in the fashion industry, and I know that like. There are people who create things and then sell the exact same things for different price points to different things. So yeah. So I don't know how much it was, but I convinced my dad to buy it for my mom for Christmas and then somehow convince him later to give it to me. Good times. All right. Well, thank you for doing this. And you have
thanks for having me on.
A fabulous day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Meg.
Bye.